r/ask Reddit. What are some things that a teenager should avoid? Pregnancies. Yeah, teenage pregnancy sucks. The teenager is way too big for the birth canal and usually ends up ripping it to shreds. To shreds, you say? Addiction. Debt and pregnancy are the big ones. But avoid waiting for life to begin. It already has. Go in some positive direction even if you're not sure it's the exact right one. The your life has started is some real shit. I wish I was told this at 12 or 13. I would have done so much more with my life, I think. I spent middle and high school playing video games waiting to be an adult essentially. Avoid skipping the dentist. Even if money is tight, professional cleanings and preventive maintenance will pay dividends later in life. Edit. RIP my inbox. A horror story to prove the point. I caught a bad spell of depression some years ago and stopped taking care of myself in many ways, including flossing and going to the dentist. I ended up having to have surgery to hollow up and fill out a completely rotten tooth, costing insane amounts of money. I was in so much pain. To make matters worse, there was a surprise nerve in one of the roots of my teeth, meaning they nearly drilled while the area wasn't completely anesthetized. I've brushed my teeth religiously since, but sometimes we still find surprise holes from that time where I couldn't take care of myself for a few months. Take care of your teeth. Same here. Lost my job and spiraled into 2 years of depression. Probably brushed my teeth once a day if I was lucky. Had to have 2 teeth pulled, a root canal, root scaling, so many fillings, and a crown. Definitely ashamed and learned my lesson. Edit. Clarification. Brushing my teeth once a day was what I considered good. There were stretches of time where I didn't touch them for weeks. Probably where I did the most damage. Depression is rough. Procrastination. Not as big as the other ones, but my god. Procrastination can get so bad and affect you so horribly if you let it get out of hand. I'll stop procrastinating. Later. Maybe tomorrow. Yes, my child. Join me. Adults trying to be too friendly date you. You're not mature for your age. People their age don't want to be with them or around them for a reason. Yep, I remember when I was 14 and there were girls in my class dating men who were early 20s and I thought it was pretty odd then. And now I realize these men probably went for young girls as they are easy to manipulate. Yep, I remember in high school the cool freshman girls would be dating seniors. I look back on that and while it's not to the worst, I'm also wondering what a 17-18-year-old was seeing in a 13-14-year-old. It's only a few years but a lot of maturing happens then. Physically and mentally creeps me out when I think of it now. Social media and seeking others' approval. That shit will destroy them for years. Just curious. What do you mean by destroy them? Like in what terms? Cyberbullying can leave a huge emotional impact on teens that give them mental health issues or body image issues. I know people that have taken into their 30s to recover from these kinds of things. Edit. This can make it harder for them to establish healthy and meaningful relationships too. Lack of sleep. It ain't make you cool. Go to bed early and enjoy full 9h night. I have insomnia. Indeed. Teenagers need more sleep than an adult. Their brain ain't fully developed yet. Sleep helps with that. Trying to change who they are, what they like so as to fit in. It's something you might regret later on. Not exploring your own individuality and hobbies. Yep, stop trying to tailor your personality to appeal to each new person you meet. You're not required to be everyone's best friend. It took me so long to figure this out. It wasn't until my early 20s that I figured out how I like to dress, what I like to do, or what music I enjoy because I used to change according to other people's tastes. Suppressing emotions. It's okay to feel sad, angry, anxious, etc. Don't be made to feel bad for feeling this range of emotions through your teenage years. Wish someone taught me this. Emotions were discouraged in my household. Well, positive emotions were fine. But if I didn't look happy, my parents would get angry and yell at me. Now I'm trying to fix it by teaching myself what my parents didn't. But to be fair to them, they were raised like that too and didn't know any different. So to anyone who's going to have children or already has them, one of the biggest favors you can do your child is work through your own shit. Because it will follow them and you'll realize it way too late. That is why they've been saying you should heal yourself first before having a child so that your child wouldn't have to heal because of you. Drugs. Absolutely drugs. Teenage brains aren't developed enough to handle that kind of dopamine. I'm pro weed, pro psychedelics, pro legalize everything. And yet I still want the recreational age for all of that to be 21. Brains need to fully develop before you start soaking M and fun juice. Edit. 25 is a better age for the fully developed brain. Edit 2. I personally stand by the 21 limit, but science don't give a duck about my stances. To quote Family Guy South Park, there's a time and a place for everything. It's called college. Edit. Did too many things during college and misremembered where I heard above quote. Really loud music. I mean the kind at a concert front row loud. BC tinnitus really sucks. And then there's me, a teen with tinnitus without listening to music or going to concerts. And not only tinnitus, I damaged my ability to hear certain frequencies when I was a teenager by going to loud punk gigs. It makes it really hard to hear people speaking over background noise. Doesn't sound too major, but it makes socializing in a pub or club or public place that bit more challenging. I guess I lost the frequency range that distinguishes speech from general noise. When you're a young adult, you do a lot of your socializing in such environments, so don't add an extra challenge to your social life. Fake friends. It's honestly better to have no friends than people who gossip about you and make snide remarks to you. I know everyone says this, but you will find your people. So true. Sometimes your people are not the ones you're grouped with just because you live in the same area. Life is so much more than high school. I agree with you. But to a teenager, no friends is infinitely worse than bad friends. Sitting alone in the cafeteria or in the hall, transferring from one group to another is hard, but that's the key. STDs. I have 0% risk getting any of those. My face is an excellent protection. Avoid self-destructive attitudes is a good one. Probably 95% of people alive are decently attractive. You can lose that extra 15 pounds. You can shave those unwanted hairs. If you look in the mirror and think you are below average, you are probably closer to average, which is fine. Average people are perfectly good looking enough. If you look in the mirror and think you are absolutely hideous, maybe you are slightly below average. But truly ugly people are rare, and more often than not they have 13 out of 10 charisma, and it makes up for it. Don't practice unsafe sex. Condoms and pills are cheaper than having to raise an unplanned child. Tobacco, drugs, and alcohol. No, they don't make you cool. They are very addictive, and you can't easily shake off the habit. Anal is even cheaper though. Your own hand is the cheapest. Direct strikes by lightning. Strike me down, Zeus. You don't have the bar. Not again. Anything you wouldn't want your mother to hear about at your trial. Best ducking comment right here. I'm out of awards, so here is an imaginary gold. My mom found her dream job in her 30s and my current stepdad in her 50s. Don't be too concerned with whether the things you're doing now is gonna be forever. Do what you can to open doors for yourself, but don't feel forced to think you need to know with who or what you should spend the rest of your life with at this point. Time gives you time to discover more things. And eventually you'll find your way, even if you didn't realize it. Stop thinking in today and forever. You got all the time to figure it out. Just get yourself a solid foundation and explore. Except for drugs. Don't explore things that you could get addicted to for the rest of your life. Yeah, my mom is married to my dad when she was 20. They are divorced now. She is much better, and yeah, she is in her 30s too. Older men. Teenagers often think that they're cool for hooking up with dudes who are far older than them. But the people who hook up with teenagers as older adults are not the cream of the crop. Everyone wants to think they're mature enough to date an older person, but most of the time there's going to be a power imbalance. Totally agree. Grown-up men with sexual intentions hanging out with vulnerable teenagers is a problem. When you're 16 you might feel special and mature when receiving attention from an older hot guy. But it's not a good idea to go down that road. You think it's because you're just so cool and so much more mature, that it's just because something is wrong with the older guy and you don't realize it. But it's painfully obvious when you're actually the guy's age, and you can see exactly why he's going after girls that are so much younger. It's because he himself is severely lagging in maturity, so he can't go after his peers. None of us would put up with his shit. I had some friends who dated much older guys growing up, and I thought it was kind of gross but didn't think too much of it until I was actually their age, and I was like, what the duck? That guy was my age and literally trying to duck teens? It's unimaginable in every way possible. It's like being a teen and your friend is trying to date 10-year-olds. You'd be like, what the duck, dude? No. Very clearly wrong from your perspective. But again, that 10-year-old might feel super cool because they're getting attention from a teen. Mass genocide. But what if I don't get into art school? What else am I supposed to do? Mass genocide is the only way to go after not getting accepted to art school. Nicotine. Most definitely tobacco and alcohol. Does nothing but waste time and money. Trust me. It's way easier to never touch it than to try to remove it from you once you did. Thinking they're smarter than everybody else. We were all stupid at that age and you're no exception. Teenage brains are wired so they think they are smarter than everyone else. Sexting. Your own photos can get you charged for possession and distribution of child pornography. Ironically, you can even be tried as an adult for something that is only a crime because you are not an adult. I live in a state with weird laws around that. Basically, someone 14 or older is allowed to sext with someone 17 or under. But the second the 17-year-old turns 18, it's illegal even if the age difference is the same, or something like that. Porn. Not completely avoid, but make sure you don't fall into addiction, and try to reduce it a bit, because too much of it can really mess you up. I used to watch a lot of porn, but one day it became boring to me. When you have seen every porn out there, avoid listening to advice from idiots on the internet. Wait a second. And that is known as the internet idiot's paradox. Avoid taking out large loans. Any loans if at possible. Though that's difficult if you go to college. Buying a brand new car at a young age is a bad idea. The majority of your small paycheck will be going to that loan and the insurance. Same thing with an expensive fursuit, I assume? Drugs, alcohol, and unsafe sex have already been mentioned. So I'm going to suggest toxic friends. Seriously, if your friends only ever get you in trouble and treat you like a burden, they're not your friends. By all means, the prospect of leaving a social group to find another social group can be pretty scary. Facing that fear is better than being around shitty people. Bad company. People that will try to use you and lead you down the wrong path. Trying to be ASAP mature and an adult. Enjoy your time and try new things because adults don't judge children. Be curious in that time. Open bracket. And I don't mean drugs. Don't do drugs. Adults absolutely judge children. Do what you want at any age because someone is always going to judge you for it. If you haven't been financially educated, credit cards. It's far too easy to get into debt with them and can really destroy your future for years. Bears. Beats. Battlestar Galactica. It's cliche as hell to say, I know, but drugs. Absolutely avoid drugs. Drinking too. It is easy for a full-grown adult to use a drug and get addicted before they are even aware there's a problem. So it's stupidly easy for a teen to get former runaway addiction that can last years if it doesn't out and out kill you from an accidental overdose. But even if you eventually were able to break the addiction, the changes it made to your brain chemistry could be permanent. That's exactly what happened to my brother. He got hit by a car at the age of 12 and his dumbass doctor put him on Percocet and that was all she wrote. From then on it was an ever-sinking shit-fest of one OD after another with more and more delusional behavior and psychological damage to the point now that at 28 he literally has the mind of a 14-year-old cause the drugs never let him grow up properly. So please, stay away. Smoking cigarettes. Teachers that impose their political views. Narrow-minded friends. And voter apathy. Being too adult. Getting into online relationships. Open bracket. Not like friends. Friends are fine, I'm talking about like a date. Epstein's Island. chlamydia. Ever had your pee hole itch? Shit's rough. When I read pee hole itch I was laughing my ass off. I think every male knows what I'm talking about here. Never resort to soap for lubricant. Alcohol. It might take a few years, but eventually it will destroy you and your family. Read the many examples here on Reddit of people suffering alcohol addiction. It took my son. IDK. I wish I was actually explained to me why watching so much porn is bad and how it kills libido. Learn to love yourself first. If you fall in love with yourself, drugs, and safe sex, and generally many other bad habits are very easy to say no to. It helps so much in future relationships and in many other areas. Too much porn. Not picking up a creative and or athletic skill. One of the problems people face today is obsolescence. The skills you learned in your youth become useless because something new over the horizon will replace it. Kids today look up to influencers and are amazing at making TikToks. But honestly, that's not gonna last. An athletic skill will give you a strong and healthy body for your entire life. A sport develops a competitive and goal-orientated mindset that translates easily into any job. A creative skill develops sensibilities that will shape your worldview. Displaying your creativity gives you the opportunity to express and share yourself. Not to mention that both develop responsibility, time management, and a love of practicing to perfect those skills. In the long run, any of these skills is worth more than any amount of likes. North Korea. Letting other people make your decisions. I let religion, family, friends, society, etc. dictate my behavior. It's comfortable because you tell yourself they know what they're talking about. They don't. Sure, you'll make bad choices, but at least they'll be yours and you can learn from them. There's a special kind of regret you feel when the bad choices you make are a result of other people living your life. Trust yourself enough you fail. Think, make a choice, and actually live. Any man or woman who tells you you're really mature for your age, stay away from those people. They're creepy groomers. And while you may be mature for your age, an adult should not be interested in a teenager like that. Open bracket. Range of age difference does make a difference, so use your best judgment. Teenage years are the time for making mistakes, for trying out stupid shit. Time to broaden your experience. Be aware of peril, but be brave. It's a time to spread your wings and take that poorly planned backpacking trip with that hookup you only just met. Because that's the way you discover your surprise love of Italy, or cookery, or woodcraft, or charity work, which powers your life. So avoid being too cautious. Take a risk. Do something different. Ignore received wisdom, see what happens. It might be your new thing. That said, avoid any addictive drugs. There are some passions which are massively detrimental. Avoid feeling like you need to have a good excuse for everything you don't want to participate in. If you tell someone no, it really doesn't matter why. That should be enough. You don't have to keep explaining yourself. Just walk away and eventually you'll meet people who will respect your limits. I had close brushes with the law and things I feel guilty about over a decade later because I caved to peer pressure. Pregnancy, meth, cocaine, heroin, uppers, downers, PCP, crack, and ecstasy. Oh, and the Sausage Club. Every school has one. Group of guys that none of them really have a GF, and you know any place they show up there will be trouble. Being an a-hole with strangers and your family. Being ungrateful for what you have and for what people give you in life. Ease up on the caffeine and energy drinks. Too much of that stuff has lasting effects on crucial systems like your cardiovascular health. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.